Hey, it looks like we're live, Nance.
Hi, Eric Cohen. How are you?
How are you, Nancy Kelly?
Well, I'm
Welcome.
actually fabulous.
You always look
So
fabulous.
is my hair.
I was just teasing you moments before we went live that as you were kind of leaning down towards your keyboard to title tonight's show with our guest, who I think people can see is going to be the great Bobbie Militello. And I noticed, I said, Nancy, I love the roots of
I'm
your hair.
actually. I got it. I got it. Sorry.
Um, so I am going to share this right now
Me
to
too. I
my.
got it shared to public. I'm getting this down, Eric.
Yep. I think we got, this is our 14th show.
Oh my gosh.
We don't have it down by now. I mean, boy.
Yeah, but I get goofy in between. I'm blonde. I'm goofy.
Why is that stereo? You ever
I
hear the phrase "I had a blonde moment"? I feel that's it's not fair to blondes.
have them all the time. So this show I'm particularly excited about because we have someone on that not only have I worked with a lot, but he's someone I really, really admire, and his work, his playing just knocks me out. Just knocks me out. And I got a lot of stories to tell. We're going to talk about how we met and how it turned into a very successful CD of mine, Singing and Swaying. There's just so much history, and he's got so much history, and I'm just really excited about what we're going to get a chance to hear today.
I am excited about that. Obviously we're also going to talk about his time with Maynard Ferguson and of course his tenure with the great Dave Brubeck. And there's quite an interesting story on how Dave became a fan of Bobbie's, which I do believe involves Dave's late wife, Iola. And we'll let
We'll let Bobbie tell that
we'll
story.
let Bobbie tell that story. We'll talk about a city that you know very well, and Bobbie, of course, was born and raised there, Buffalo, New York, where Bobbie currently makes his home. But Bobbie's been all over the world. I mean, when you tour with Maynard Ferguson and Dave Brubeck for essentially 40 to 50 years, plus have a recording career of your own, Bobbie has seen and done a lot. And, and we're going to get to enjoy, I believe in a matter of moments, we're going to get to enjoy you and Bobbie together, sharing a stage from back at the Fulton Jazz Festival. Of course, we talked with Joe Cortini, who puts that festival together every year, along with your help and many others. Of course, the event not happening this year due to the pandemic, but hoping it will be returning. In fact, he gave us the dates. August.
It's always the same. Always the
I think
same weekend. Yeah.
right around this weekend. I think a year from now. Let's hope that instead of us doing this show, you may be performing this weekend next year.
Oh, good grief! It better snow.
Come on, Nance. Don't say snow.
And the bugs. I also do not like bugs. It's so many bugs. It's so hot. I remember Bobbie and I. He's not on yet, but we did it. I gotta wait because we got so many fun things to talk about. Let me just intro him.
What's your favorite bug, by the way? Do you have a favorite
No,
bug?
I don't have any.
All right. Okay.
I don't like the bugs.
All right. So do you want to play some of the?
I'm gonna share a little something. Bobbie and I both had the pleasure of not only being on the bandstand together, but with the great Joey DiFrancesco.
Oh my goodness, yes. I was there in person for this.
His wife said, "Welcome home, dear." But since you've been gone, you see, we've been blessed with a darling baby. A cute little one is he. She took the baby in her arms. She said, Benny's his name. He said, but I've been gone away 3 years. Baby, can't you please explain? So I won't seem so dumb. Tell me, where did little Benny come from? 1, 2, 3. Every time he'd ask, she'd say, Spade's got bread, and still she said,
Hey, Bobbie's up now. Let's go.
he said, I've asked the neighbors that come around. They don't seem to remember, and it dropped down. Said about a little thing like this, don't you know, Mama? Now I ordinarily wouldn't bother. But what I know about kids, you gotta have father. And as I look at Benny, I can clearly see he must be from heaven, 'cause he damn sure ain't from me.
Yeah.
The man himself.
Damn!
Yeah, and Nancy, I went for 2 instead of 1. You know what I mean?
I know. Let him go. Let him go, man. I said he's got something to go happen, man.
To the viewing audience, that means I took 2 choruses instead of 1.
Right.
I don't think she minded though.
Oh, I never. I think it's one of the things that guys like about me is I'm not a fussy chick singer. I like to hear the cats play, man. I want to hear them. I want to hear, especially when I'm on the bandstand with Bobbie Militello. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Bobbie Militello is here with us.
Yes, indeed.
Inimitable.
Yeah. How's things in the Buffalo, man?
Not bad, actually. The everybody's taking care of business. I mean, most everybody's taking care of business, and we haven't had our COVID level is very, very low, and I've been playing gigs now. I've played about 5 so far.
Wow.
And I started some COVID concert gigs that people can book a gig and we'll go play on their porch or in their backyard.
That's a great idea.
Or something like that. And So we've been doing a few of those, and then we played at Art Park the other day, and I'll be at Pausa on Friday, and so
Now
there's
that's an indoor space, right,
yeah,
Bob?
Pausa's indoor,
So
and
how you working that out, man?
they have strict rules. They've reduced the seating in the room. They reduced the amount of people that can stand at the bar, and they've opened up a patio in the back where you can hear us, but you can't see us. And I don't know if she's going to put the video camera then outside, for the people outside, because there's a video camera there. And everything will be socially distanced. She doesn't do anything more than a quartet, so we have room to set up and socially distance. And basically, everybody has to adhere to the rules. If you don't adhere to the rules, you'll be asked to leave. You have to wear a mask when you get up. At the table, you can do what you choose, but when you get up and walk around, you have to wear a mask. And so far, tomorrow I'll be at the Flying Bison on Seneca Street, downtown Buffalo, and they're doing their gig outside with a tent they put up, and again, all socially distanced, masks, all the rules. And we did it last month, and everybody paid attention to their job, did it right, and had a ball. That's the thing, Everybody thinks it's going to like kill your groove.
Yeah.
It was fine. People grooved on it. When we were really into it, you could hear it was like a pin dropping outside.
And they kept their masks on the whole time?
No, they put the masks on when they had to move around.
Oh, I
anyway.
see.
Or they'd keep masks on if they were sitting with people they didn't know.
Yeah.
That kind of a number. But pretty much everybody was pretty comfortable. They were sitting at picnic tables and chairs and tables outside the tent.
Yeah, I haven't done one yet. I have one coming up. I have one coming up outdoors on September 6th. Over here at the winery that's across the way from me.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes. I don't have anything indoors booked right now.
Yeah, well, the Art Park gig was outdoors too, and they limited it to, I think it was 62 people. And that's what the town and the government and all that stuff said was the maximum. But we could have put 200 socially distanced people out there. There was no problem. It's called Music in the Woods. And you're playing underneath a whole set of trees that goes down the thing. And there's all these very cool sculptures and things like that.
You're not talking about the museum where we played last year. I think it was last year.
This is Art Park out in Lewiston.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's a huge facility. I mean, they're as big as Saratoga when they open the main room. So
wow,
that's a big place, and they can open the walls, same as Saratoga, to the outside. But in any event, what we did was we could have put 200, 300 people out there, and they all could have been socially distanced. So, but they stuck to the rules and went with 60 people, and as it turned out, they got so many people that wanted to come, we had to do a second show. So we agreed to do a second show. So the first show, everybody left. Instead of having two sets, they left, and then we got another 62 people.
Like the Real Deal days.
Yeah, man.
Was this a quartet gig, Bobbie?
Yeah. It's not live on Facebook,
Okay.
and it's Art Park. Let's see. You'd probably type in Art Park and Music in the Woods, and then you'd probably get
So
it.
people could go and find this and review
Oh
it.
yeah. I have a copy of it on here that I could play you some excerpts from or something like that, and just bop around in it. But there's a point where for some reason the video guy unplugged the video or the audio, and then he got it back on again. So, but generally it came off really well. And Nancy, you'll dig this young singer that's singing with us.
Oh,
Yeah, Alex she's tight. She's really good. She studied opera and all that stuff at.
Oh, I know about her. Yeah, I know about her.
Oh, you know Alex?
Oh,
Good.
well, I know about her, and I've listened to her on,
She's young. She's young. She's all that stuff that's there. But her vocal instrument is really, really
wow.
getting there.
I know it takes a lot to impress Nancy.
Where can we hear her? Can you play something? Can you share something?
I think so. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get this out of the way. I'm gonna get this out of the way.
It'd be nice to.
Okay. Well, you know what? First, I was gonna do something, Nancy. I've been doing recordings with different cats over the internet using Pro Tools.
And me too.
Okay, and I did one with John Bacon and John Nargis and Danny Zeman, and Zeman's in Austria.
Yeah, we know. So you got a lucky break to get Zeman. He's the cat.
Yeah, so the thing came out pretty damn good for that type of thing.
You want me to share it? Where is it on your?
It's on my desktop, but if I play it, will you hear it?
Well, do you know how to share on Zoom? You have to share computer sound and all that stuff.
I think
Yeah.
I've done that already.
Okay, let's give it.
Let's see what happens. Tell me if
Give it a shot. Yeah.
Much bigger way, but here we are. I think it still works, and the sound.
Oh, wrong one.
We hear it, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
No, there is nothing to see on this one. This is the recording on Pro Tools.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that sounds good, Bob. You did that with
Yeah.
Pro Tools?
What's that?
You did that with you each recorded your parts and then did it with Pro Tools.
I did it in Pro Tools here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting better at mastering now. I'm finally figuring out the mix solutions. Like my flute, instead of being mono, the one channel I recorded, I doubled the channels and did it and panned it in stereo, and it just made it sound thinner but just as loud. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to feel more like it blended in with the cats. And Danny sent me very specific compression settings for his bass, and of course,
Gotta love that.
yeah. I mean, can I play you just a little bit of Narcissus solo?
Sure.
Please.
We got time for that? Good.
Oh, sure.
Oh, oh. Nope, got the wrong one. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I hit the wrong thing here. There we go. Little Narcissus solo. Let's see, what's the wrong one? Let's pull this one up. Okay, let's see, it should be about here.
Everybody needs to know that's Bobbie playing flute, man.
Yeah.
You want me to move ahead, or is it okay?
We got a lot of ground to cover. Whatever you want to do. Oh,
I mean, is that
Wow.
happening or what?
Man.
it's amazing when you think about these people are right in our backyard. I mean, of course, Danny Zeman is not no longer. He did a smart thing and split out, and he's got a steady gig.
Yeah, he's got a
Prestige.
nice gig. He's got a nice gig. The only thing I told him is that you leave the United States for too long, and then kind of people forget about you.
Well, you know what Russell Malone says: if you ain't appearing, you're disappearing.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's what I warned him. But I told him, I said, the first thing that's going to happen, you're going to fall in love with Europe, you're going to fall in love with the food, and then you're going to meet a chick, and then you're never going to come
All
home.
over.
And he did all of those things,
There you
all
go.
of those things in that order. So,
Not the first, not the last. Wow.
I know. Oh God.
Do you remember your first trip to Europe, Bobbie? Who it was with? What city? What country?
yep, Switzerland, Montreux,
Oh,
Maynard. I went to Montreux, Switzerland in 1976, and we did. We were there 5 days. We did two concerts, big concerts, and it was Maynard and Bob James and Dexter Gordon and Stan Getz and Hubert Laws and George Duke, and
Woo!
plus it was. I mean, I'm zoning on the rest of the names, but just ridiculous. I'm sitting in a section with Stan Getz, Dexter Gordon. Uh, um, it's a nice shot of Maynard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I was sitting in a section with Stan Getz, Dexter Gordon, Hubert Laws. Woody Shaw was on the gig. I mean, it was just, and then VSOP was also there. So we played with them on some tunes, and they played their own concert. We went from Montreux to London and redid the whole thing again. It was just a ball. It was great.
Just the ball, just to even be with those guys, let alone play with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I decided that since you mentioned his name, and obviously he was such an integral part of your development as a musician, and when I saw this picture, I just fell in love with the picture. By the way, I don't know if people can tell, it does have his initials right on his cuff.
I just was looking at that and then thinking
that?
other weird thing.
Yeah.
We all do that stuff. We all do that. So I got mine on my shirts too.
Do you?
Yes, of course I do. Yes, that's just specifically for those shots.
I got you. But
I don't know.
I mean, Maynard. I guess if you could just discuss a little bit about the Maynard Ferguson that you got to play with, but also Maynard the person off stage, and what that time in your life was like back in the 70s.
It was absolutely the best time of my life. Absolutely. When we got out on the road, no intimidation by Maynard whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the first night I was on the band, I was replacing Bruce Johnston on baritone.
Oh, I know Bruce. He's another upstate New York cat.
Now he's in Pennsylvania or Ohio, I think. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. But when on the first gig that
Is that how you got referred? Was it like a referral or like how
Yeah,
did
but it
that?
was Mike Migliori referred me,
Boy, what a break!
the alto player here in Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had gotten the gig first, and then I got the gig after that on Barry. He called me up and he says, "Man, I don't know if you want to play Barry because he says there's a Barry opening." And I said, "Well, you know as well as I do, I've never played Barry." But I
Oh,
said, "Yeah, I'll take the gig."
yeah, man. Get it through the door, man.
So I borrowed Dick Griffo's baritone
Huh.
and his mouthpiece, and went out and did what was it, 6 days. I had a chance to learn the charts and get everything happening. And Maynard says, "Yeah, you got the gig, man. You sound great." So then the next tour started in New York, and I went to Manny's. They had two baritones, and I bought the one without the low A because I didn't like it. And Maynard said that was fine, and that's the horn I got. Then I fooled around with mouthpiece for about a month and found a great mouthpiece, and I was now a Barry player.
I've never heard you play that instrument. Do you
Oh,
ever still pick it up?
hell no, I sold it.
Who wants to carry that thing around anyway, right?
No, I don't want to carry it around. I don't want to. When you play baritone sax, and you like when I moved to LA, when you play Barry, everybody calls you on Barry. That's it. They need Barry players, and I wanted to play my alto. The reason why I left Maynard, the first time the alto chair opened up when Miggs left, and I said I'd love to move to the alto chair, man. And he said, "No, I like you on Barry." So I said, "Okay," and I let it go. And the second time was when the tenor chair opened up, and I said, "Okay, I'd love to move to the tenor chair just to get off of Barry. I'm not in love with the horn anymore." And he said, "No, I want you to play Barry." So I quit.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't any hassles. No, that was Maynard. There was no, there was nothing wrong. Everything was great. Every time I saw him after that, he was like kissing me and hanging out. So, but that was just the way it works.
He knew what he wanted. That's all there was to it. There's
Well,
just yeah,
yeah, but so did I. Yeah.
yeah, right.
I had to get back to every time I would go home and play my alto and my tenor, I said, oh, man,
Yeah,
I
I
really got my
know.
chops again.
So sweet. Who were some of the cats in the band then? Who was on drums?
Peter Erskine.
Oh, jeez.
Couldn't you get anybody good?
Well, I was the road manager when I hired Peter, and Maynard gave me 2 cassette tapes. And for you chillins out there that don't know, those are the little cassette things that go into the thing. And now they don't do that anymore.
They don't even do CDs anymore.
I know. But he gave me 2 tapes. One was Peter Erskine, and the other one was with Dave Weckl.
Wow.
And I got these 2 tapes, and you're talking about 2 20-year-old guys. And I put the tapes in and I listened to them. I'm going, they're both ridiculous players, just stupid, really great players. And then I read the resumes and all that kind of stuff. And Peter had a year with Stan Kenton. And
Oh, so that gave him that big band experience. Yeah.
well, that gave me the feeling that he knew what we would need at certain points in time.
Right.
Whenever we played the old book or whenever we played any of that stuff, that's what I was going to need. And I knew he had it. So I hired Peter instead of Weckl.
Well, you got to step up. You got to step up to the plate to drive that band. There's no question.
Yeah. And then there was Gordon Johnson on bass, who's a great bass player, but he graduated from Eastman on flute.
Ah,
And then there was Biff Hannon on
Biff.
Oh.
I recorded with Biff, my
That's
first
right.
record, man.
Crazy Biff.
Great. Well, there's 2 Biffs.
Yeah, I could tell you 1,000 stories.
There's Biffs. Oh, so could I.
Let's hear a Biff story. Why
No.
not?
Well, all right. We got to respect our bro, man.
Nobody knows Biff Hannon except those cats that are players and things like that now. But he's up in Canada somewhere now. He's remarried and all that kind of stuff.
Oh man, I got the best Biff Hannon story of.
Oh no, I got.
man.
Oh, here we go. Dueling Biff. I don't have any Biff Hannon stories.
But I can't.
I know.
I'm sorry.
And then it was Mike Migliori on alto and Eric Traub from Buffalo and me. So that was the sax section, all Buffalo cats. And then it was Nick Lane on trombone, who's gone on to play with a lot of the big rock bands and do great arrangements, big band stuff.
Oh, that's good news. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, and then Ron Tooley on trumpet, Dennis Node, and Stan Mark, who I just just as soon not mention his name, but Stan Mark was playing on there, and I can't remember because we switched the third chair about 4 times. So yeah,
So
it was great cats.
so we've talked now to Bobbie about the Barry, about the flute, and of course, his saxophone playing speaks for itself, and we're going to get into that in a bit. But I understand, Bobbie, and I don't know if you know this, Nancy, but am I correct in saying that it was the clarinet that was the first instrument that you picked up thanks to the Benny Goodman story when you were young?
That's exactly it. You said it right on the money.
Remember, I told you what would happen, Bobbie.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, this is the journalist in me.
The journalist is over there working while we're chatting away.
Well, you guys are talking Biff Hannon. I'm doing my research.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. I could do that too here, man, but I don't want to show you up. You know what I mean? I would go. But yeah, the what we were
Clarinet, honey.
Yeah, Benny's from heaven.
But where did you get started? I was on clarinet in school. I wanted a saxophone, and they ran out of them. It was a tiny school.
Yeah, no,
And
I
so-
saw the Benny Goodman story with my mother at the Victoria Theater, and came home enamored by the childhood part and the practicing and the seriousness, and then where he went and what he did and all that kind of stuff. And so I went to school the next day and asked if I could play clarinet, but we didn't have any money, so they gave me a clarinet and they gave me free lessons. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Chekala, which was my grammar school teacher, remember every name of every teacher, music teacher I've ever had, and could tell you stories about him. But he pushed me really hard and then got me to another teacher who pushed me even harder and then got me to, that's when I got the saxophone. Saxophone was sitting in our closet. My brother Charlie, who was with the state police in New York for 30
Oh,
years.
I know Charlie.
That's right, yeah. Well, Charlie,
He pulled me over once. No,
I was just gonna say, hopefully not for the wrong reason.
yeah, you mentioned my name, right? And
Oh, it's Nancy again. Oh my God.
but Charlie was the first one to try and play saxophone, and he was terrible at it. But of course, my mother had bought him a really good horn from Sedola, and that was a Con 10M, and so it was always there, but I wasn't supposed to touch it because it was really expensive at the time. But one day I started coming home, my mother would be working, everybody's out, and I'd grab the horn out of the closet and stick whatever reed was on it and start to play it. One day she came home and I was playing Canadian Sunset.
Oh.
Winner. That was a winner, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a big one at the time. And she heard me playing and she says, "You like it?" I says, "Yeah, I really like it a lot." She says, "Okay, it's yours." And that's when it started. Then I started taking lessons.
You still have the horn? That horn?
No, not the Con 10M. No, I've got my Summers now that I got from Sedola when I started studying in 62.
Where'd you go to school?
John Sedola School of Music.
Ah.
So so you're like me. We learned all this stuff working it
Yeah.
out, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
working and practicing and doing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And doing my research too, I read that Mr. Sedola, and I think Bobbie's going to back me up on this, expected you to practice something like 6 hours a day.
That was usually your minimum was 4 to 5.
Wow.
Yeah. This was like going to graduate school. It wasn't like I can't teach like this anymore because if I tried to teach like this, a student would probably quit. They just can't. This is the old school Italian thing and everything. Absolutely, just every day I put in my 6 hours plus.
Wow.
I would either go out and play or I would play along with records at the house and memorize. Like I memorized the Stan Getz album, One Note Samba. And I just could play along with them. And my mother would sit there on the chair listening to me play. And some days she'd say, you're just going through the motions. And another day she'd say, "You're in the pocket today. You're grooving today." So, that's how all of that started. But John Sedola was a ridiculous teacher.
That's amazing. I have talked with many jazz people, and I have these conversations with my students because I said, most of the cats I know, most of the time, still practice hours on end a day.
Yeah, it just depends on the circumstances. As long as, like, I'm 70 now, so I'm not going to practice hours in the day and then go play a gig because I'll blow my chops out.
Yeah, yeah.
But right now, I'll usually do an hour, something like that, in the afternoon, and then give myself the space of time, and I just feel better when I get to the gig.
Yeah.
And
But in the early days,
in the early days,
hours.
you could do 6 hours of practicing and then go out and play a gig and then go out and play a session because that's when you were young like that, your muscles were real strong in your embouchure and you could just play all day long. The way John Sadola taught and the way you're supposed to play the saxophone is by not pressing from the bottom and the top. You use the side muscles here to make your embouchure and then these stay loose. That's where you can get the variances in your tone and all the stuff you want to do. Well, nobody teaches that method, and I don't know why. It's the fourth page on the universal method about how to do this. But that's the way he was taught you. And once you had those chops and the muscles here happening, you could play all day long and don't even think about it.
Who were some of your? Because you really you like to fire it up, man. I want to get into that conversation. But who are some of the people that really affected you and sent you where you are now?
Well, I could go. I mean, I could talk about all the teachers that I had and
No,
all.
I mean players.
Players. Okay, well, let's see. The first album that I listened to was Maynard in Newport in '59, and the other album was Stan Getz' One Note Samba album. And so I kind of got enamored by those. And then the third record my mom got was Brubeck, and it was a old fantasy labeled see-through red album that had one cut on one side and one cut on the other side. And it was a live concert they did in Paris with Desmond. And I memorized that sucker. I was just into it. So Desmond Getz, and then I'm just zoning on the guy's name now, that was the lead alto player for Maynard at the time. And I started hearing those.
Andy Fusco?
No, no. I don't think Andy ever made that game. but nothing against Andy.
No, I'm just being silly. You know me.
But that's what I used to just sit down in front of the stereo. We had a Sears Silvertone.
Yep.
It was like the first, and I would lay down on the floor with my head in the middle, and I would just take the arm and take it off and listen to the side of an album over and over and over and over and start scatting all of the solos and start doing that kind of stuff. So I would say Getz, Desmond, and then Cannonball Adderley without a question. Cannonball just affected everything
I love doing. Cannonball, man.
Cannonball's got the epitome of whatever.
Yeah.
And, and then of course Train comes in there, and I like, of course, Train and what he was doing, but I never seemed to want to emulate that. There was somewhere other way that I wanted to try and do it, and now I seem to have found a way to do it that works for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nance.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was gonna say I also saw that you like Ronnie Cuber too.
Oh, sure. Oh, you're kidding? I could play a cut from now the old George Benson album, Cookbook.
I saw, one of my favorites. I'm a big
fan. That album, and Ronnie Cuber is playing so good.
It cooks, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Nance.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'm enamored with you guys.
Come on.
Well, I think.
So, I wanted to talk. What did you have something you were going to say, Eric? Because I got a road I want to go down.
No, let's go down that road. I just hope that one of the stops on that road is we find out how the two of you.
That's where I was gonna.
All right. Well, we're going this.
But I was gonna ask Bobbie if he hit as hard. Did you hit as hard before you got with Maynard, or did that influence the way? Because you hit hard, man.
Yeah, no, I was hitting as hard. It was the way Sadola taught you to play. It's just the way he taught you. He gave you The people in the music store, when Sadola and I were in the room and I was doing my lesson and he'd be playing with me, they would have to stop teaching because the vibe of the sound of the two horns with the overtones, it was just incredibly strong. And Sadola was not going to hold back, and I wasn't going to hold back because I had to match Sadola's sound, you know. And if that's the way he taught you to play. Look at Menza. That's another Sadola.
There's a Menza.
Solid burner with a really great tone. You know, that was Sadola's sort of benchmark or whatever, that you had to have those kind of chops.
Wow.
So
So
you and I
was sitting in my restaurant in Buffalo while I was working, actually working the floor at the time, and I put on every day. I used to take and put. I could get into the jukebox, and I could kind of just say I get X amount of free plays, and I would set up a lunch groove and then a dinner groove, and I would just pick the tunes I wanted to play. And every single day, I always played your album with
was Peter Erskine and Biff Hannon,
right, and
Tom Warrington on bass,
Ernie
Burt
Watts.
Watts.
Ernie Watts.
Oh,
Yeah. And so I would play that every day, different cuts depending on the mood that I was setting up people. And after a while, I just thought in my mind, you know, she's in Rochester. I mean, she's right here. She's in Syracuse. So that's, I think, where my mind started to go. Like, why don't we get together?
And then we started a long gig, or long
Run.
run, thank you. If I don't get the word, you'll get it, and vice versa. A long run at your brother's place called the Bijou.
Yeah, that was our restaurant. That's our family restaurant.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I see.
yeah,
Yeah. But I was also, what drew us together was I was a hard hitter.
yeah, oh yeah,
I came to play.
not a question. That's
And so when the two of us got together, it was just explosive, man.
a lot of energy. Yeah.
Was explosive.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff that people hear on my Singin' and Swingin' album was because of all the time we spent on the bandstand together. Like it influenced what we did on that record.
Yeah.
And
I could see it. We naturally play off of each other.
oh, all the time. Well, people just saw that. I mean, it's crazy how it works.
Yep.
It's so comfortable. It's like, and I hit, and I cannot see you for a half a year, and then we hit, and it's just like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah, we've been home before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Go ahead, Nance.
I should say I can't hit that hard anymore. I'm, it's. I wish I could.
Well, now that I have to sit down and play, I can hit hard still. So.
Well, my voice it changes. It's tough.
Well, voice is a whole different game than
It is.
playing a saxophone. Yeah.
It is. I'm down a whole step now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of that stuff I can't even. I have 30-piece charts for symphony, and I can't sing them anymore.
Well, if they had them on Finale, you could just transpose them.
No, I tried. It was Calvin Custer, and I tried like hell to get it from his family. And back then, it was on floppy disk,
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God,
and
floppies.
nobody would help me. I said, "You don't understand how it's like. It's a really huge career thing, because somebody could just put that in there and flick of a tab, and it's down a key.
Right.
Well, it is what it is, but." So you were on my last recording, remembering Mark Murphy. Blew your butt off on that. I should play something from that. Why don't you ask me a question, Eric, and I'm going to find some of that. What's one of your favorite solos from that record, or you maybe don't remember? I love what you did on everything, but I don't know. Red Clay's pretty killing. Sunday in New York is bad. It's really bad. Aren't you on that? Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm on Sunday, New York.
I think you are. No?
Yeah, I think you replaced me with Trumpet on that one.
You replaced them? What
I
the?
did.
Oh yeah, no, that's a producer's prerogative. That's what a producer does. He balances the album the way he sees it. That's what
Yeah,
he's supposed
I'm
to
so
do.
glad to hear you say that because there's somebody out there right now that's been mad at me for many years because I decided to do something different.
Yeah, well, that happens with amateurs, I think.
Oh, this cat is not an amateur.
No, but when,
Oh.
with an amateur mentality, you either decide it's the producer who's going to make this record the way he wants. You either fight him or let him have his head so he gets creatively what he wanted to do for that artist.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it. And if he decides to cut your solo, I mean, yeah, a good example of that when I was with Maynard, uh, we did Maria, uh, except we did it with Peter Erskine and everything, and it was a sort of a I could maybe find it and play it for you, but it was a whole different take on the tune Maria, and there was a solo in there, and Mark Colby took the solo. That was supposed to be it. Well, I was in the studio to record another tune that day for the album Conquistador that we were doing at the time. And Bob James told me, why don't you go in the booth and just give this one a shot? And I said, sure, yeah, I'll do that. And I did a one take solo, and they stood up and like clapped in the sound room. And it was like, now I had to live with Mark on the bus every day when his solo was taken away and mine was used instead.
You know, you should not be in this business if you can't put your big boy pants on.
Yes, yes, and also if you can't put your ego where it belongs.
Yeah.
You know, your ego belongs when you put the horn in your face.
Yes.
You're an egotistical son of a bitch.
You do what you like, baby.
Exactly right. You are the person that you want to be, and you're going to say whatever the hell you want to say. But when you take it out of your face, you're just another human being. Get back down to earth where you belong. You know?
Hey, speaking of two
Yes.
two heavyweight musicians and playing with the big boys, how about these two gentlemen sharing a stage together?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Oh,
not,
I don't.
there it is.
Oh my.
The JBC Jazz Festival, Newport, Bobbie and Winton together.
Yep. Yeah, that was. He came up and sat in on two tunes, I think, with us.
Oh my God, what did you do to him? I can only imagine.
Look, look at the way he's looking at me. He's
I can only imagine what you did to poor. That's terrible, man.
yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah, he's
No,
giving
no.
you. Yeah, what
He's
does that look, man?
That look is like
He's like, I better step up my game, is what I better do.
exactly right. Exactly right. That was like I'm inside what you're doing, and both of us were playing off of each other at the time, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was really a lot of fun.
Well, we love what Witten has done for jazz and how he's sticking close to Lincoln Center and educating and just keeping the music so alive. I mean, it's
Yeah. Well, Whitten is a good politician.
Yeah.
So Winton has figured out the New York politics scene whole, and
big time.
and
Big time.
has achieved a lot for jazz and a lot for music in New York by just being the right kind of person that can walk in the room and enamor the person that's there enough to get it done.
But
Because-
that's a blessing for all of us.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
For all of us, indeed.
Did you want to play anything, Nance?
Well, I gotta look. Gotta search for it, and I'm a little at the loss on how to do it. I don't.
I can ask Bobbie another question while you search. Are you going to play something from Mark Murphy record or Singing and Swinging?
She was going to play something from Mark Murphy, I think.
Yeah.
And I've got that live thing that we did, and I can move to a spot in it or something like that and let you hear some of what we did live at Art Park the other day.
Oh, did you find that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got it here.
Oh, let's hear a little bit of that while I'm.
Here we are. I think it still works, and the sound is wonderful.
I love this ballad. a ballad that John Bacon wrote, and it was written for that era, and it's gorgeous. It's just
Well,
beautiful. But let me move up to. Let's let Nancy hear a little of the Babe doing a tune that you probably do in your sleep.
there's a lot of tunes that I'm sure she can do in her sleep.
It's if I can sleep.
Told me, guys are out of my head the way he described it. He said, better do the love. I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along that he was all wrong, and that he thought I was crazy, but not.
She's phrasing it too, man. Good for her.
He's told me, guys right out of my head. He's running treatment, not that easy. Cause I gotta think so you can get me to prove that I don't have the last left on you. Cause it's never my head. I got to. Well, they say as a child I appeared to learn the wrong with all my crazy ideas. But I was happy, I knew I was a genius. But that's so strange when you know that you're a wizard at 3. I knew that this was meant to be. When I heard the children was a pesticide day, that's when I drank a bit of vodka one night. My parents got frantic, didn't know what to do. But I saw some crazy things before I came to. Now, do you think I was crazy? I have been only 3, but I was swinging. They all did angry and bad. They all did anything else, and I said, so why should I feel sorry? If they just couldn't understand the reasoning and the logic that went on in my head. What it was the same old. How they used to handle me when I refused to ride on all those double-decker buses. All because I was the driver all the time.
What do you think, Nancy? She's
Well,
Thoughts?
I would like to hear Wardell Gray. If you played that for her,
not yet, but
make her listen to that, man.
for 22 years old,
For 22 years, yeah, but you know,
yeah, she's working on it though. She's working on it.
I was digging because she was phrasing it and she was putting herself into it. She's clearly got her own.
That's right.
She's clearly got a gospel background somewhere in there.
A little bit of gospel, mostly the classical at UB and theater.
Well, that isn't going to help her much with jazz. In fact, I have to undo them from that when they come to me. But the theater's good. The theater's good because they get to express themselves more with that. A lot more.
Want to hear another separate cut? This is, you know, Sabu on bass, right?
Who?
Sabu Adiola, Daoud Sabu Adiola.
I've never worked with him. No.
That's a new name to me.
That's the cat that you're seeing here. He was on the road for years. Who was he out with? A whole bunch of cats. I can't even think right now, but he was out with Ahmad Jamal. He was out with a whole bunch of guys, and he was.
All right, I just did the research, Bobbie. I'll tell. Yeah, I can fill you in.
Yeah.
You said Ahmad Jamal, Dexter Gordon, Donald Byrd, Abby Lincoln,
Right.
Grover, Randy Weston. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
he got around in his time, and then he decided to come back and take care of his family, and got his degree and did all kinds of stuff. And he's a ridiculously wonderful cat. But he wrote this tune here, and I'll play a little of it.
Love that tone, man. Is that the
Yeah.
song?
Yep. So that's that was the quartet the other day. I've got a bunch more stuff here, but
Man, you came prepared.
oh yeah. Well, that's I'll sit on the computer right here.
Yeah.
But that group is particularly having a great time.
Who's playing keys?
George Caldwell.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah,
he's wonderful, man.
Basie and
God.
Ellington and all those kind of cats and a whole bunch of other people. You know, George is just George when he came to Buffalo really introduced a whole new genre of jazz to the city. He started doing that New York stuff and the Miles and the different things that weren't really being done a lot in the city. And the bands that he's played with and that we put together and the different stuff like that has completely influenced me in a direction that I always wanted to experiment in and never could. And it was just wonderful when George.
And it's right there in your home, right there.
Yeah.
That's a problem I have. It's so limited for me to plug in where people are teaching me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I already know a bunch of shit, man. There's other shit I need to know now.
Well, that's
And
exactly.
that's what you're talking about. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
exactly right. That's what happened when I started playing with him, and then him and John Bacon and Sabu. If I went a little further into that thing, you would hear us soloing, and it kind of gets pretty out. And
You
that's
talk about George?
both of us. We
Oh,
just got
yeah, I
strange.
know.
We got strange during the course of those solos, and we're experimenting and doing what it is that in the genre of that music, and it's just like absolutely a beautiful thing. You're learning every time you play.
Yeah. I definitely don't think of when I think of Bobbie, I don't think of of him as an out player, but I guess sometimes it calls for it.
Well, out is a wonderful place to go to.
Sure.
If you're if you can still hear the inside. If
Great
you
point.
hear it like bop, but it's strange and out and whatever, chances are it's got a good musical content to it that everybody can understand. It's
Yeah.
when you go out for the sake of going out and you
Right.
don't have a basis of everybody else being in that same place, then it kind of feels a little weird.
Yeah.
You know? But when everybody's in the same place and the whole thing is working, you can make an ending last 4 minutes if you really want to, just because,
I'm painfully aware of that.
just because you created a wonderful space and you didn't want to kill it. You know, you
Oh,
didn't want to kill it. You wanted it to run. You're not there to worry about how long it takes. You're there just to say there's statements, and if the statement isn't finished, go. Just relax. Let it.
That's I'm sorry.
Nutrition,
I'm
that's
sorry.
a-
I got something I want to play.
go for it.
I got something I want to play, man.
That Anagata Devita?
Do we have enough time for that?
Yeah. I think so.
I don't know how to get ahead in this. It's got a ad.
Step
It's got
ahead
an ad
for
on
their
it.
best life.
I'm sorry about that.
Transform
Two of them. I get two ads.
Kettle cooked
Oh, gotta love.
I got two ads, man.
I'd love to get on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone. Get you and keep you in my arms evermore.
I can't sing this anymore either.
Relief on those lovers weeping on the faraway shore. Out on the briny with the moon big and shiny, melting your heart of stone. Son, I wanna get, 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 son, I wanna get him on that boat to China. I wanna get my man all to myself alone.
That's John Nargis, man.
That's
That's Nargis.
player. My
Yeah,
goodness.
You got to send me that one again, Nancy. I've forgotten.
You forgot how damn good it was, didn't you?
I know. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I can't sing that anymore. I can't hit that high C anymore, but I can sing it. Said I want to get, said I want to get, said I want to get, said I want to get. It's like crazy.
I know.
That was one that you and I developed at the Bijou.
Yeah.
We developed that together.
It just kept getting faster and faster and faster.
But that's just what we were. It's just what you were talking about, though,
Yeah.
man. Of being with people, and then everybody gets on the same page, and then this whole new tree grows. You know, this whole new thing.
Influence
No.
of all the players instead of just one person's idea.
Yep.
Of course, Nancy knows this, but I just love when she gets into that grovel. When she gets into that grovelly voice, you know.
You know what, Eric? It's funny. Everyone likes that, and I don't know why. They go, "Ah," like they love it when I do that. I don't know what that is.
Well,
It really feels good in your throat too, doesn't it?
You know what it does?
I bet that hurts like hell if you do too much.
I tell my students I play a video for my students, and it's Pavarotti and James Brown singing "It's a Man's World."
oh,
Yeah.
Killer, man. But
Yeah.
then James gets to a place in the tune where he goes, "Ah!" I go, no, don't do that. Don't ever do that.
I know.
Slamming your vocal cords together. Oh my God.
so Nance, we obviously have to get to a very important point in Bobbie's career where he joined probably the greatest jazz quartet of all time. But before we touch on Bobbie's time and how he got with great Dave Brubeck, Bobbie, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Maybe Nancy doesn't even know this, but again, here's the journalist in me coming out. I would love for you to share with our listeners, our audience, how there's a connection between you and Rick James of Super Freak fame.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wanted you to talk about that. Now, was that through Lenny Silver? Was that a thing, a Buffalo thing, man?
No. Lenny never had anything to do with pretty much anything I ever did.
This kind of leads into your time with Brubeck, I guess, when you were.
Well, it was kind of funny, but I had my album or my band RPM in Buffalo, which Nancy knew the band, and it was a really tight, very, very tight band. And Rick James used to come into my brother's club, Mulligan's on Hurdle, and he started to really.
So he's a Buffalonian?
Oh yeah, Rick lived in Orchard Park.
Is he passed away?
Yes,
Yeah. I did not know he was a Buffalo guy, though.
I didn't either.
Orchard Park. Yeah, and he had a nice house out there with a complete studio in his basement, and just like you'd see in
Of course
New
he
York.
did.
Absolute scooters and all of the high end.
This was before it was hip to do that.
Exactly
You
right.
dig what I'm saying?
But he used to come in to hear my band, and then he'd bring in his band and say, "Listen how tight these cats are," and that's what he was looking for in a different way. But that's what he was looking for with his cats. That's what he wanted, that tightness. And so him and my brother were very good friends, and my brother talked to him, and he talked to me and said, "Why don't you do an album on Motown?" And Rick, of course, at that point in time was so hot that he had the clout to get it done and get me a budget and a whole bit. But all of my music was fusion. It wasn't funk. So then we hired Lenny White to produce the record. And that's when Lenny changed a whole bunch of the tunes that we had into funk tunes. Yeah. It was an interesting, it was a very interesting time, tell you the truth.
Well, there's a rich history in this part of the country for funk, though.
Oh yeah, no, not that I don't like playing funk, but it wasn't what I envisioned that I was going to be doing.
Right. Oh,
And
I see.
so then I'm working on the album, and I'm starting to do that, and I get another phone call, and it's Dave. And Dave heard me with Maynard 8 years previous at Sugarbush, Vermont, on a ski slope that we played.
Oh my God, I played that same thing.
Yeah, Sugarbush was a real popular East Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played that same gig.
Yeah. And he heard me there, and his wife heard me and took Iola, took her book and opened it up to that day and wrote my name down in Maynard, and that this was somebody that was whatever. Well, 8 years later, when he needed somebody, Iola goes back and gets her book and starts flipping through the book until she sees, oh yeah, that was Maynard. Calls Maynard in Ojai, gets my phone number and calls me in Buffalo. And I'm in the middle of producing a record, which I don't think I could get any higher than that. And then all of a sudden, Brubeck's on the phone. He wants me to play with him. So it was like that year, 82 or 83 it was. That was a pretty heavy year. Yeah, that's the old stock.
Oh, Bobbie, look at you.
Yeah, I had to bring this up.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah, me and Mike Moore are the only two left.
I know.
Oh, man.
I know.
Yep,
Time marches on.
I got a ton of shots. Take that one down. I'll show you. I've got some of the road shots and all that kind of stuff. But,
Sure. Is
yeah.
Mike Moore still playing?
No, Mike's pretty much retired. His wife was a Supreme Court justice, and she retired. Let's see. Here's one. Let's see. How can I? Okay, let me. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on. Well, let's see. How do you share a picture?
Well, at the bottom of your screen, there's a menu. If you run your mouse at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a menu, and it should say Share Screen.
Yep.
I'm on share screen right now. So.
Well, I don't know.
Well, if you just click the picture on your desktop and then click Share Screen, it should just be highlighted, and then just click Share and.
Hold on 1 second. Can you see that or no?
No, sorry, Bobbie.
Okay, no problem. Let's just skip it.
Can you email it to me and I'll put it up?
Yeah.
Well, we want to hear more about. Let's go
But,
back around to the whole group.
Then I went to New York to do a sort of audition at SIR in New York, which was SIR is just a big warehouse full of instruments that they rent, and then they have rooms for you to rehearse in. And we went to SIR, and luckily they were going to be doing a gig with the original trio because, of course, Desmond wasn't there, and Joe Morello and Eugene Wright were there. So I started playing some of the old tunes, which I had memorized back when I told you I had the Sears Silvertone stereo.
Right.
So I started playing all these tunes. Then
I was going to say that had to play such an important part in you being able to fit through that door, man.
The look in his face when I knew all the old tunes and all the stuff that I wasn't asked to learn, because there was a list of stuff that I was asked to learn, and he was just enamored. Then he starts playing just anything. You know how you just start blowing changes, just sitting there, just fooling around.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
And I'm blowing along with him. And he's freaking out that I got the ears that can do that, because Dave is an ear player. That's what he was. Very much an ear player. And very, very little thought.
He took a lot of crap for that, too, from the jazz.
Everybody's a critic. The critics can do what they do, but Dave did more than 100 of them or 1,000 of them ever even thought about doing in their lives. So they can criticize as they see fit. But Dave was a giant. Dave really was a giant.
And I was going to actually ask you that.
Melodic giant.
Oh, gosh. But I was going to ask you about that, and maybe you can just expound on that. When you say that Dave was an ear player, and I know that you were the same way, which is why you and Dave kind of meshed so well. I mean, when you talk about being, for those who don't know, what does it mean being an ear player?
Well, you still have to study. You still have to get all your changes and all your scales and your stuff and your chops and your ability to do what you do.
Yeah.
Now, when you blow a solo or when you start to play, there's an inside person in your head. There's a space that gets created. And that space is where your sound fits in, where you decide your balance with the person next to you, where you decide all of those different answers to questions that make it sound like a homogeneous group. And while you're deciding that, you're also making creative choices. And that, The creative choices can be made two different ways. You can make them by numbers. You can say the change is
The math.
C major 769 or C69. Okay, so I know there's a D in it, I know there's an A in it, and I know there's a B natural in it. Well, I can play on a lot of different things and make that work. But rather than do that, I hear the change and I react to the change because I practice the changes so much in exercises and things like that that my ear just instantly hears the extensions to the chords.
Okay.
I hear guys.
I don't know if
get
that-
annoyed. You do that really well. You and I both do that well. Of course, I look up to you when it comes to that sort of thing. But I hear guys. I see stuff on Facebook, and I hear gays. I'm going. They're just running scales, man.
Yeah.
Like that's jive. Like, am I supposed to be
it's-
impressed with that?
Well, but they're the young guys, most of them.
Yeah.
The older cats. The older cats understand that. So.
Nance, we have a question.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I kind of threw it out to the gallery. We have a question from one of our former guests, Mr. Joe Cortini.
Hey.
You know Joe?
Yeah. What's
Oh, yeah.
happening? Oh,
And so Joe's question, his son is turning 13 tomorrow. He's killing it on the clarinet, but he's reluctant to play his alto, and he wants to know any advice for getting him more interested in the alto sax.
I would leave him alone. That's my advice. If he's enamored by the clarinet,
Just-
what he's learning on clarinet will
oh,
give him
transfers.
the chops he needs to play alto anytime he wants to play it. He'll
Mouthful
have
is
a
so
great
similar.
embouchure, and it's harder to finger, and it's much harder to get happening. That is the basis of all of the major woodwinds. That really is the basis. So
Yeah.
if he's happy with clarinet, let him keep going. Let him just keep going. Well, the day he decides to play alto, he'll just pick it up and play it.
There you go. Okay.
That's excellent advice.
It is excellent. Hope you heard that, Joe, and pass it along to your.
Are you giving any Zoom lessons?
Oh yeah, when I was teaching at UB, they let me go for this semester because of the budget cuts. But for the last 3 years, I've been teaching at UB, and the whole last semester we taught
Do
via
you
Zoom.
teach privately?
Yes.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there for Joe.
Yeah. No, I do teach privately, but if his son's a clarinet player and he's starting to do real well, I can think of a lot of other cats than me that should teach him because that's a classical instrument. You should learn it that way. And if you learn it that way, you'll play jazz like crazy. So
I'm classically trained, man. That's where I get you need that training.
That's
That's why
why you can just keep singing. You know what to do with your voice. When you're sick, you know what to do. When you're not sick, you know what to do. When it's humid, when it's dry, you know what to do because you were trained to do it.
Well, yeah. Well,
Well, Nancy's voice is as rich as ever, and I'm just sorry that we're in a time now where the masses are not getting to enjoy it as much as in the past. But let's I hope we all hope that that live music will come back at some point, and it will come back with a vengeance, and people will
Oh yeah.
will really want to come back out to whether it be the clubs, the festivals, you name it, and be able to see that interaction, because there's nothing quite. I mean, again, listening to music online or on Sirius XM or watching a YouTube video, but to be in an environment, and you both have been there. I've been there as not as a player, but as an MC. But just being able to look on stage and see the interplay between Nancy and her pianist, or see the interplay just between she and you in the video we saw earlier of Pennies from Heaven. It's that unspoken language of jazz, and the audience gets to see it, and there's the connection that's made. And right now there's a void, and that void is hopefully going to get filled once again, but it's going to take some time. But when it happens, I do think that we're going to be in a great place.
I think I need to comment on what you just said. I think something that needs to be added to that is the creative act needs participants. You know, we're doing what we're doing with one another on the bandstand, but it's not complete without the circle of the audience joining in with us. You know, that's what's hard about doing these live streaming things. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but you know, we need the love. We need to feel the love of the audience. So,
Yeah.
Bobbie, your head got cut off.
Oh my gosh, the headless sack.
I just like to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've heard of you go to my head, but not.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, no, Nance is right. Nance is right, and you know, I love the fact that both of you being very dedicated to jazz education, and you both have made the adjustment right now and doing all these virtual lessons. But again, it's just keeping people interested and passing down all the knowledge that you have to a younger generation. And it sounds to me like there are some. I'm sure you both would agree that there are some very talented up and coming players. They might not be practicing 6 hours a day like Bobbie did, because that level of commitment is not the same.
Oh, trust me, they are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Trust me, they are. This is the difference. This is what separates the men from the boys.
That's
Do you
right.
think the level of commitment is still there?
Oh, yeah.
But the people that are serious, when you decide I'm going to do this and it's jazz, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an all day thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got two students right now that one of them turned out to be a ridiculously great lead alto player and solos wonderful and reads like crazy. I used to have them doing super sax and all this kind of stuff, and they're earning. And then another one who's a classical mother. He just is so good at classical and loves it with a passion. I told him, what are you going to do, man? Where are you going to go get gigs? He's going to join, I think, the Navy band.
That's a good start.
Well, that's
It's hard to get a chair because the symphonies aren't even performing right now, you know.
well for him. That would be with the Navy band concert band, and that is a great band. That is not a
You're not kidding.
block band.
You're
And
not
once they hear him play, he's played. There's a solo called Scaramouche, which is just a ridiculous classical piece that he kills it. He just knocks me out when he plays it. And then he's played a bunch of other things. Now he's learned how to do quarter tones on the
Woo!
and he can play scales with the quarter tones and do things.
Get out.
Honest to God, this kid is just nuts. And these guys put in the time. When I was teaching them every week when they came in, they were ready to jump. They were ready to just kick my ass.
Yeah.
Which is what every student wants to do. And
You know, people that are. My grandson has taken the classical route.
there's
Believe it
not,
or not.
classical route is as valid if you become a first player or something like that. To me, as you move down the chairs, you become mechanics. More.
I would agree with that. It does become just kind of going through the motions, for sure. But to be a great classical, when you think of the great virtuosos, they're still able to tell story within the confines of the structure.
If you take a classical player that's not a chair player, but a real soloist or a lead player or something like that, when they play, they just absolutely they play one note, and the tone of it and everything else. All of a sudden, you feel its presence in a really rich way. We played a gig with Brubeck at the United Nations in the General Assembly, and it was us and Yo-Yo Ma.
Oh, don't you love Yo-Yo Ma?
Oh, what a
Yeah,
genius!
Come on.
I got to meet him in Boston. He came backstage at Cambridge when we were playing there, And I usually, you know me, Nancy, when the gig's over, I hit the dressing room or I hit
You're
whatever.
out of there, man.
And I'm so, well, I'm not a real social animal. And I have to get my head expunged of how I felt during the gig so I can get back to talking to people. And so it takes me a few minutes. And
Oh, well, we all go through that. You got to
yeah.
come back down.
So
It's like,
I was sitting there and ignoring the people in the room, and Iola comes over and says, "Hey, Bobbie, there's somebody here who wants to meet you." I says, "Okay, well, I'll be finished in a minute." She said, "No, there's somebody out here who wants to meet." And I turn around and it's Yo-Yo Ma, and he goes, "Man, I really dug your playing a lot." I said, "No,
you
no,
didn't
no."
use the word dog?
Yes, yes, he did. And he was like, "I'm going, please don't, Meister, don't even think about it. Don't compliment me, please." And he's like, he was the most wonderful cat.
Yeah.
He was
Of
very,
course he is.
love the quartet.
Oh, anybody that reaches that point with their music is a wonderful cat.
Yeah, well, some get egos.
No.
Pavarotti and all those cats, they got egos that were just, too. But you can't fault them for a thing that they did when they played, man, or sang or whatever. And Yo-Yo Ma again, meeting him and then playing with him at the United Nations and the whole bit. That was a real big deal.
But what a feat to take a classical cat and make a commercial career.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely. Nance, I only have one more picture left to share, because I see we're getting towards the end of the show. This might be one of my favorite pictures that I found, because I just love the admiration in this picture
Oh.
of Dave just really looking up and really enjoying Bobbie soloing. I mean, Bobbie, it's a question that you've been asked more than any other question, but
Just click outside of that, Eric. Click outside of it.
I'm trying to.
Somewhere. Click outside of that box. It'll go away.
Don't
Oh, there we
worry.
go. There we
Don't
go.
worry. Don't worry. It was low enough that it wasn't highlighted.
I was a little concerned, Bobbie.
Yeah, I was at first too.
I was not trying to,
Yeah, I know, man. No, I know, man. Yeah.
I mean,
That
because.
shot,
Go ahead.
that shot was about, I'd say in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's the way pretty much he looked all the time when I was playing.
Oh,
And that's the way I looked when he was playing. We both would just kind of look at each other and just I don't know. We just felt a kinship, and after years of playing with him, he wouldn't even have to look at me, and I would know what he was trying to tell me.
Oh, well,
Really
yeah,
pretty out, yeah. Yeah. So that I've got a lot of shots like this and stuff like that in my computer that are pretty cool.
you got to see. I mean, you got to see the world.
Oh yeah.
And that quartet, and you got to, obviously, it's you got such a talk about a jazz education for the better part of 30 years. I mean, do you still to this day just kind of pinch yourself and say, man, I got a chance to play and get to really become friends with arguably one of the greatest jazz ambassadors that this world has ever known? I mean, you're a lucky man.
Yes, I am. I said that every day when I was on the gig, but I was lucky to be there. But at the same time, I deserve to be there. But
Amen. Amen.
But a lot of cats in the world would have deserved to be there too. And so I got the gig, which is great. And once I got it, I was happy, and he was happy, and it just flowered. It really did.
I remember very vividly when Dave passed away, and I remember thinking to myself, well, Bobbie will come home now. He'll stay home now. And
Yeah.
it was melancholy. It was sad. It was,
Tell me about it. And
I
Dan,
was like,
you know how to describe it. It's like when you've had something like that for 30 years, then all of a sudden you just stop dead and you
it's
go
gone.
home.
But I don't know if this is happening to you. I'll tell you what's happening to me, and it's kind of cool. Is I because of my age, and you and I are the same age, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't. I know how old I am.
Yeah, well, I'm as old as you are.
Okay.
But I look back on my career and I go, wow, that was like better than I thought it was. You know, because I hear myself talking with people like you, and I'm going, yeah, I did a lot of stuff, man. Like, you know, it's like,
Yeah, well, that's why I say that every minute, every day, every month, every year, every decade, I just knew that I was lucky and that I was happy to be there. And the things that we did,
Yeah.
the stuff that we created was pretty cool.
And I loved hearing you say in an interview you did some years back where, I mean, sure, of course, there were certain songs in the repertoire that would get played night after night after night, and you said that never, ever did you play it the same. It was always, there were always new wrinkles. But of course, people knew that if they heard a Brubeck gig, they knew that Take Five was going to be in there somewhere, and no matter how many thousands of times you guys played Take Five, you could have played it 3 weeks in a row without a day off, and never going to sound the same every night.
Right, and there's tricks to doing that, not tricks, but methods to doing that. And the basic method is you play the melody and you stay true to it, and you play the melody true to it when you go out, because truthfully, that's all the people want to hear. That's what they wanted to hear. That's the basic thing. Now, what you create in between the two melodies is a trip that you're going to take them on. And if the trip is successful, they're going to dig it, even if they aren't jazz fans. And so each night, for me, it's sometimes I just pick a different note. And sometimes it'll be a note that just isn't consonant with the change, which will drop Dave out or drop the piano out because he's not sure what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, I'll make that an extension on a chord, and I'll start playing that chord on top, and this will happen. And all of a sudden, we're in this other place.
Yeah.
Our heads have moved. Now, the next night, Dave will do something on piano, and all of a sudden, I'll say, oh, okay. Or he'll drop out completely and let me have it.
Right.
It's an extreme exercise in adaptation.
Yes. Variations on the theme. It's like...
That's right. That's right.
I got a cute picture to show you here before we say goodnight.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the kid?
That's the clarinet player.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That's Joe Cortini's son, Jojo.
That's Jojo. Oh.
Isn't that adorable?
It wasn't that long ago, was it, Nancy?
No, I don't know. Where were we? We were at something together.
Was that at that little bar?
You know what that was? That was the release party for the record.
Oh, okay, yeah, the background. I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's still playing, man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, Eric Cohen, but this was a really stimulating, wonderful show, and I enjoyed every second of it.
One of our absolute favorites, and Bobbie, thank you for sharing the music we heard, and also sharing your stories and giving out some great advice. And I know that JJ's going to take that advice to heart.
He does, yeah.
And you know, again, I've just always enjoyed watching you play, playing your music. I still remember playing Heart and Soul on WAER here in Syracuse. That's when I first discovered the great Bobby Jones, my friend. Ooh, that's a
monster, the monster in residence, Buffalo, New York.
Without a question, yeah.
Oh,
I've always said this: if Jones had decided to go on the road and just do his thing, he would have been the world's most famous organ player.
Wow.
Without a question, he would have been the top organ player of the world.
Yeah.
He just was made to play that axe.
Well, I love playing your music, and I love the fact that you joined us tonight, and I just look forward to the day when you and my co-host can...
Oh, yeah. We need the budgets. We need those budgets to pull us all together.
Now you want to talk about money now. You know, I'm sorry, man, Nance.
Oh, you're going to... Okay, forget it. Can we just play?
You're blowing the whole artistic thing now. You know,
I know,
people
man.
thought we were so magnanimous.
We're just Biff Hannon, man. I know, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, me.
Baby.
This was special.
They really
Bobbie,
are. Bobby, thank you so much.
Eric, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh,
we love you, and hopefully we all get to hear each other in person soon.
absolutely. And we'll just very quickly promote that next week we will not be doing our show on Sunday night. We're going to do a very special Monday night edition of Time Out. And our guest next week will be the legendary Mr. Todd Barkin. So, I mean, we got heavyweights.
You did say fantasy records, right?
I did
Yeah.
not. Yes. Right. So between Bobbie tonight, Todd next week, I mean, we're landing the heavyweights. So
We love you. We'll see you all later.
love you, Bobbie. Take care.
Take
Be
care,
safe.
everybody out there. Thanks for joining the show. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Love you, Bobbie.
Love you.
Bye bye.
You guys.
Take care, guys.